Everybody, I'm Brooke, and the reason for my video is that I decided to homeschool for the first time. And basically what this video was for is to describe to you how it started and where we're at right now.
Woo!
Anyways, so we started off doing a lot of research, and I ended up going with Torchlight PreK.
Why Torchlight?
I like the idea of Torchlight because it's a literature-based program, and for now I'd like to go with a secular type of curriculum. Not that I'm against anything else, but I just felt that was the right way to go.
What were the others you looked at?
I looked at Build Your Library, and honestly there's not a lot of Blossom and Root, Playing Preschool. Playing Preschool just wasn't for us at all. It started off exciting, but then it just got to be, it seems like it's easy, but it's really not as easy as we thought it would be. And we also tried Blossom and Root, and I like it, but I don't know if it's the right fit, especially for our 4-year-old. We have a 4-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
Would you say that because the kids sometimes lack the attention needed, that this is what they needed?
I do think the benefit of a literature-based program is when starting out, it's going to be a hot mess, no matter what. But I noticed that with time and consistency and many read-alouds, they would with time, they each get better and better with their attention span. So I'm assuming, or I'm hoping in the future, it'll just get even better. It used to be where I was lucky if I could get them to listen for 2 minutes, but now we're going on maybe 15 if it's interesting enough.
So then, cutting to the chase, knowing that people have short attention span, what did you like? What went well? And what would you do different? Let's start with, what did you like?
For sure, I really love the book selections.
What type of books?
Well, a lot of it has to do with curiosity and feelings. The one that, what I really do like more though is the actual book lists that are integrated into the lessons. Some of the spines I did like, which I'm going to show you. So I'm going to start off with the first spine that I did like. Now it may be advanced for some kids, but it really depends on your child if you feel they're even ready. I know you're probably saying he's only 4, but he is definitely a very eager learner. So that is why I decided to go ahead and try it out. Basically, we flew through this entire curriculum very fast. We're pretty much done. And now we're at the point to where he can put up his 10 fingers and add some on one hand, some on the other hand, and he's able to tell me what 2 + 2 is, things like that. Subtracting is, we're still kind of working on it, but I'm not really putting a lot of pressure on him because he is only 4. So this book though, what I like about it is that it's hands-on, and it's very easy. You don't need a lot of things. It's pretty much things that you would have around the house. First they learn how to count objects up to 5, then they learn how to sort a bit. Some things we don't quite have yet, which I'm not too worried about. I know we're gonna get there. He definitely has already learned what each and every single number is, and now he almost can count to 100 with a little bit of guidance once he gets to 29, 39.
How long did it take for him to build a routine?
It takes a while, but this book in particular, literally all you need is about 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. You don't need a lot of time, but if you're consistent with it, they will start to build on it. Now the little one, he has no idea what we're talking about, and that's okay. I'll have him count objects, and if we're lucky, we can get to number 5. And the second book that I picked that I do like is Breathe Like a Bear. This one is written by Kira Wiley, and sometimes they can be a hit or a miss, but some of them the boys really do love. There's one in here in particular called Rainstorm, and if you ever have, whenever we have like a day where we're just kind of off, if I start doing the chant that's in here with them, which gets them to clap their hands, rub their hands together, stomp their feet like it's thundering and lightning, they do, it does grab their attention. And I really like the illustrations in this book. It's beautiful. It has really nice pictures. So I think either way, even if you don't go with Torchlight, this would be a good thing just to add, that either they can look through, or you can just, if you're having a day where you just need them to breathe a little, then they can start with those types of exercises. The next spine I'm going to talk about is Look, I'm an Engineer. Now, I like it, but I don't like it too. There are some really cute ideas in here, but some of them will definitely go over, I think, 4, 5, and even 6-year-olds' heads. But it does give you, we did do this one, the floating in the air. All you needed was a straw, construction paper, and a little, pom-pom ball. And it just showed them that they could make the ball go up in the air by blowing through the straw and making like a little cone type of thing. Which this one worked out. It was nice, easy, simple, quick, not a lot of prep. But there is a lot in here that I don't think that people would have the items. Yogurt cups, yogurt cups and butter tubs. Not everybody has a butter tub, so it's like it wouldn't necessarily work. It could, but I don't know. I really don't find this necessary for their age. But if you're looking for just extra ideas, you might just be able to just get this on an ebook and it just works out great. The next one I'm going to talk about is A Whole Bunch of Feelings. I like the book, but do you need it? Definitely not. I think they're just not old enough. 4 or 5-year-olds is really not old enough for all of this, but I think it would come in handy if your child is feeling scared about something. They're about to go to the doctor, or they have to go to swimming lessons, something like that. This has a lot of information on how to calm yourself down, how to feel better about it, and how to also understand what feeling they are actually feeling. So it can come in handy, but do I find it necessary to have for homeschool as a lesson? Not necessarily. If I ever notice that my child is having a bad day, I will pull this out and pick something that I think would be appropriate to maybe see if we can bring it down a notch.
Is there a lesson we can use to get them to stop from yelling outside right now?
No. Next on the list, we have this other spine. It's called Outside Your Window. Do you need it? No. Most of these books, honestly, you don't need in regards to the spines, but it is a very beautiful book. I'll give you a little glimpse of it. My son does love it. It's more like a poetry type of book. Lots of pretty pictures. My son, my littlest one, actually loves to flip through this one. So if it encourages that, then it's okay with me. For our 2 boys, they are 4 and 2.5. 2.5, honestly, he picks up what he picks up. I don't really focus too much on him. I just give him something else to do most of the time. But being that there's 2 little ones, very rambunctious, there were some things that I was just not even gonna try out. I did try, but honestly, it just was not for us. And one of those were socks are like pants, cats are like dogs. Did not like it. It just did not, it wasn't gonna work. I even had a hard time understanding it as an adult. And the Mobius noodles, also same thing, just didn't like it. The preschool math at home, in my opinion, is more than enough when it comes to their ages. What else was on there? Look, I'm a Scientist, same thing as the engineer one. There's some things in it that you could pull ideas from it, but not a lot of it was realistic. And honestly, you could just probably research something real quick on Pinterest or Google and do something just as good, as long as it has to do with whatever you're going through. My boys and I definitely have our favorite literature books, and I'm just going to go through those real quickly. The Mabel and Sam at Home was definitely a keeper. These are just the ones that I would recommend that you actually do purchase and keep them in your home. This was a good story about a little boy and a little girl, and playing adventures. They were moving from their house to another house, and they were just playing with the boxes, and good for imaginative play. The boys really did enjoy it. It was a little long, so I actually did do this in sections, being that they're 4 and 2.5. I can only catch them for so long, but it did inspire us to go ahead and grab a box and do some of the things that Mabel and Sam were doing in this book. Next on our list of favorites, as you can see, it's very well loved and beat up, but that's a good sign in my eyes. This is called The Dinosaur Expert. This one is about a little girl that was fascinated with dinosaurs, and being that she was a girl, there of course was a little boy that was telling her, no, you can't be a be a scientist. You can't like dinosaurs. You're a girl kind of deal. And what I liked is that has a really good message, especially for little girls, saying that they could be what they want to be. And I want my boys to understand that kind of concept as well. And they just loved looking at the photos in here and looking at the dinosaurs. I found them roaring with me. Now, the vocabulary in this book is quite advanced, but don't let that deter you. There is lots and lots of vocabulary that you might think will go right over their head, which some of it will, but you would be surprised what they do pick up. And I noticed that every time I read this, they get a little bit more from it. So I would highly, highly recommend actually purchasing this one.
And it's a bit beat up, huh?
It is very much beat up. Another favorite of ours is called A Tiger Called Tomas. This one, I find my toddler, the 2.5-year-old, actually reaching for it quite often. It's an adorable story about a little boy that's new to the neighborhood, doesn't know anybody, and he refuses to leave his house and go play with the other kids. But then he realized that he was going to be just fine. The message in this one is great. Again, a higher vocabulary, not too bad though. But my sons love the part where the mom says one phrase in Spanish, which is "por qué no?" So the kids like to repeat that part with me. And I do find them just asking me for this book quite often, and that is okay.
Is it only good for Halloween?
I would read it anytime, but yes, it is good for Halloween. Another well-loved book, Stone Soup. It's got tape and everything, but it is an excellent book with a great message about community, and I feel like this day and age we lack community, and this encourages that, to help each other out. Some people don't like it, but honestly, they loved it. Both of them really, really got into this story, and we went outside and we made our own stone soup. We got the big bowl outside, we picked up some rocks and some leaves and some flower petals, and they absolutely adored it, and that made them want to read the book over and over again. Another favorite of ours is After the Fall. I even enjoyed this one myself. The illustrations are gorgeous, and as you can see, it's just very colorful and different. It's not your, let me find you a good picture. It's not your everyday book, and it's about Humpty Dumpty and what happens after Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall. He gets back up again. I don't want to give away the ending, but it really does end very, very nicely, and just the illustrations alone really catch the little one, especially his attention. And to get him more involved, I would just say, oh, point to the bird, point to Humpty Dumpty. Does he have a Band-Aid on his head? Things like that. And they are engaged in this one. And with that said, I did go ahead and look up Dan Santat, who is the author, and he does have a few other beautiful books that I would highly recommend for your kids. This is probably my most favorite right now as we speak. We recently read it. It has very, very big words in it, but man, my kids were obsessed, which made me run to the library the next day and get 2 more of this author's books. This one is about If I Built a House. It's about a little boy that has quite the imagination, and he tells his mother, oh, if I built this house, this is the way that I would do it. And man, it is beautiful, and the way that the story is told is everything you want. The vocabulary, the imagination, the excitement. My kids, after reading this book, said, I want a house like that. Now, I think it's pretty much impossible, but you never know. But definitely, again, this is one of those books that I went to the library, found the author, and got some of them, and it was well worth it, and I wish we would have just read it sooner. I initially first thought that I should go ahead and follow the curriculum day by day, book by book. However, I felt that it wasn't really necessary. Some things make sense for us, and some things just didn't make sense for us. I would recommend buying a curriculum like this if you do really want a literature-based program, and also to give you the confidence, especially if it's going to be your first time like myself. So I would still get it. And then just experiment with it and see how it goes. I wouldn't go all in though, just in case it doesn't work out for you. If they have it at the library, even better. That way you can get a feel for it before you go ahead and purchase it. The books that I mentioned, though, I would recommend purchasing those literature books for sure. You don't have to, but I do like it when my kids pick it up and want to read it again, which is why I chose them. So now what we do is we still go ahead and we use the math and we use the literature, and it just didn't feel like the flow was going the way I wanted to. So I ended up purchasing what your kindergartner needs to know, and also what your preschooler needs to know, which is core knowledge. Core knowledge is excellent, and it is free. It is a bit of a pain sometimes because it is meant for classroom, so it's kind of hard to navigate. But once you start printing them out and kind of studying it a little bit and going through their list of resources that they provide, it does get a bit easier. Now, what I really, really do love about it, and what my son, the 4-year-old, really loves about it, is that he gets to feel big. He likes having his own personal book that I can tell him, let's flip to the next page. And then I'll read what it says in here, and then core knowledge will give you a script on what to read, which gives you so much more confidence in actually teaching your child. And this particular curriculum has a very strong knowledge, like a core background knowledge that will help them in the future understand so much more. And it kind of builds off every single year. We use bits from the preschool and we use bits from the kindergarten, and whatever I feel like they would like. So with that, also, my son, even though he's only 4, this isn't for everybody. Like I said, he is eager. Once he learned the alphabet, he wanted to know more, and he wanted to know more. He wanted to know more. My husband and I stumbled across Jack Hartman, and Jack Hartman did wonders for him, opened so many doors for him, and what he does is so many different videos, but we started with a letter of the week in no particular order, and the letter of the week would show you the capital, the uppercase, it would show you the lowercase, he would even draw it in the air, and he would even do the sounds and sign language, which we actually did a lot of sign language with the 4-year-old when he was a baby, so it just came naturally for him. Which then led me to, okay, at 3.5, I was like, let's just see if he's ready to read. He wasn't. I said, okay, well, let's wait 6 months. And so I waited 6 months. I tried another program. It didn't work. But what did really, really make it click for him, but I don't recommend you try it until they know all of those things. Not necessarily how to write, but the letter recognitions and letter sounds, though, and knowing what's uppercase and lowercase. It is key to being able to start a reading program. So which leads me what I really, really loved and what is working for him in particular, being so eager. We started Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, and something about this made him understand the concept of blending, which was what we were having a problem with in the beginning. He just didn't get it. So you know what? No pressure. We'll try it again. Then we'll try it again. And so right after he turned 4, I said, let's just go in and see what happens. And once it clicked, that was it. So now we're already almost halfway done. It just does this thing where I think is clever, where they do say it fast, say it slow. It's scripted, but we do skip the writing portion. But we do everything else that's in here, and he has to master it before we even go to the next one. And so far, so good. He does very, very well with this. And because he wants to, not because I think he should, we are doing Explode the Code, which is like beginning. He is left-handed, so sometimes it's a little difficult for him to do dry erase boards, but this one, he gets his own little book, and again, he feels big. He feels like he's got this, and he just feels like he can do it. And he's doing very, very well. I would highly recommend for starting out. It's not for everybody at 4 years old, though. I do want to keep saying that. Not every child is ready like mine was. And I don't think it's going to go the same way for little brother. Every day, these are our main focuses. We do reading lessons for the 4-year-old. We just find that to be what we need to be consistent with every single day. Then next, we do the simple math. Counting Legos, stacking them, putting them in rows, using your fingers to add and subtract. Background knowledge, just anything that they can learn about, why not? Take them on field trips, take them to the museums, just let them see the world. Don't put so much pressure, but just let them learn. Then last but not least, the main thing that I think has helped us the most out of anything without any type of curriculum is just reading. Reading all the time. Reading aloud to them all the time. And what I do highly recommend is read stories that are way above them, like they're probably not going to understand, but the more vocabulary that they hear every single day, the bigger their vocabulary gets, the more they start to catch on, the easier it is for them to sit still and actually listen to the story. They might not know every single word that you're saying, but what I have learned is they will surprise you in what they do understand. Even the 2.5-year-old surprises me with what he understands. Sometimes I think he's not paying attention, and then out of nowhere he will say, oh, remember in the book, and then he'll tell me a part, and I'm like, I didn't even know you were listening. I thought he was in his own world doing his own thing. So the main point that I'm telling you is read all the books, read the good books. I like Charlotte Mason, which is Living Books. That is my biggest recommendation. You don't necessarily need a curriculum, but at these ages, the pre-K, kindergarten, definitely reading. And if they show you signs that they're ready to read, there's no reason to not. Some people are against it, but honestly, if they're ready, they're ready. And you will know when they're ready. But if they're not ready, let it go. Back up. Try again in a few months. And it might take a couple times to get there, but definitely reading is the main point of this entire video. Read. Go to the library. And that's it. Thank you.
And do you want to go read to them right now?
Sure.